When you see a crow perched on a tree branch or walking along a sidewalk, you might just think of it as another ordinary bird. But if you watch closely, it sometimes feels like the crow is watching you too. And if you've ever accidentally scared one or gotten a little too close, you might have noticed something strange. The next time you pass by, the crow seems to react. That raises an interesting question. Do crows really remember people? And can they actually hold grudges? Today, we're exploring the fascinating science behind crow intelligence and memory, right here on History of Simple Things. Crows belong to the corvid family, which also includes ravens, magpies, and jays. Scientists have long known that these birds are among the smartest animals on Earth. In fact, crows often show levels of problem-solving ability comparable to some primates. Researchers have observed crows using tools, solving multi-step puzzles, and even bending wires into hooks to retrieve food. One famous example involved the species New Caledonian crow, which has repeatedly demonstrated complex tool use in laboratory experiments. These birds can also plan ahead, recognize patterns, and learn from experience. Because of this intelligence, scientists have wondered for years whether crows can remember individual humans and respond differently depending on how they were treated. One of the most famous studies on crow memory took place at the University of Washington. Researchers wanted to know if crows could recognize and remember specific human faces. To test this, scientists wore realistic masks while interacting with wild crows. One mask represented a dangerous person. The researchers wearing it captured and briefly handled the birds before releasing them. Later, people wearing the same mask simply walked through the area without bothering the birds. The result was remarkable. The crows immediately reacted. Whenever they saw the dangerous mask, they began scolding loudly, diving at the person, and alerting other crows nearby. In contrast, people wearing neutral masks were mostly ignored. Even more surprising, the birds continued reacting to the threatening mask for years after the original capture event. The study revealed something extraordinary. Crows have long-term memory for human faces. Some of the birds involved in the experiment continued to recognize the threatening mask for more than 5 years. That's an incredibly long time in the life of a wild bird. What's more, young crows that had never been captured themselves also reacted to the mask. How? Because older crows appeared to teach them. Through vocal warnings and group behavior, experienced birds seemed to pass along information about dangerous individuals. In other words, a crow that had a bad encounter with a human could potentially spread that information to the rest of the local crow community. Crows are highly social animals. They often live in family groups and communicate constantly using a wide range of calls and body language. When a crow spots a potential threat, it may give a specific alarm call. Nearby birds quickly gather and join in the response, a behavior known as mobbing. Mobbing helps drive predators away, but it also spreads information. Over time, the group learns which people, animals, or places are dangerous. This ability to share knowledge is known as social learning, and it plays a major role in crow survival. Researchers have even observed that crows sometimes remember and react to individual people in urban environments where they frequently encounter humans. So, is it really a grudge? When people say crows hold grudges, they're using a human way of describing something slightly different. Crows probably aren't feeling resentment in the emotional sense. Instead, they're using memory and pattern recognition. If a particular human was associated with danger, the crow's brain stores that information as a survival signal. The next time that person appears, the bird reacts quickly to protect itself. From the crow's perspective, it's not revenge, it's risk management. But from a human point of view, the result can certainly feel like a grudge. Remembering faces isn't the only impressive ability crows have demonstrated. Scientists have observed them performing tasks that require advanced reasoning. In some experiments, crows drop stones into containers of water to raise the water level and reach floating food, a behavior similar to the ancient fable of the thirsty crow. They can also recognize themselves in mirrors under certain conditions, suggesting a degree of self-awareness. Some crows even cache food in hidden locations and later move it if they think another bird was watching. All of this suggests a brain that's constantly analyzing the world and adapting. Despite decades of research, scientists are still learning new things about crow intelligence. The corvid brain is structured differently from a mammal's brain, yet it produces remarkably similar cognitive abilities. This discovery has challenged old assumptions about how intelligence evolves in animals. Some researchers now believe birds may be capable of far more complex thinking than previously imagined. And crows, with their excellent memory and social communication, continue to be one of the most fascinating examples. Here are a few quick crow facts you might not know. Crows sometimes hold funerals, gathering around a dead crow and calling loudly. Scientists believe this may help them learn about potential dangers in the area. A group of crows is traditionally called a murder, though the term comes from old folklore rather than actual behavior. And crows have been known to use traffic to crack nuts, dropping them onto roads so passing cars break them open. So, do crows really hold grudges? Not exactly, but they do remember. Their ability to recognize faces, learn from experience, and share information with other birds makes them one of the most intelligent animals in the wild. To a crow, remembering a threatening human isn't about revenge, it's about survival. Still, the next time you see a crow watching you from a tree branch, you might wonder, does it recognize you? Because if it does, chances are it won't forget anytime soon. And that's the story behind one of nature's smartest birds. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.